Hello, Mr. Kruzsely here, and I am going to bring you a tutorial on how to make a stamp using Speedy Carve by Speedball, start to finish. Alright, and let's get into it. So I have a really bad drawing here before on some old Speedy Carve that I got, and I'm going to use some 100% acetone nail polish to remove it. It's just pencil. Really great for cleaning up your Speedy Carve. Grabbing my little circle template here because I will be drawing a cannabis leaf. If you don't know how to draw a cannabis leaf, this is one way to do it. Pretty foolproof. Just kind of roughing out the center line and putting a dot on the lower half of the circle where the leaves are going to start from. And I'm just going to make a couple little guidelines so that I have my 7 points kind of figured out, and a little bit of a plan helps to make them look good. And you just want to draw your lines all the way to the edge of the circle, nice and bold. Again, if you mess up here, you can just grab a Q-tip with the acetone and just erase your line. Go back and draw something really, draw something that you like. So you can do, this one is a 7-point leaf, but you can do the same thing for a 9-point leaf. And if you want to do like a different strain, like an indica strain or a sativa strain, just got to get a bigger circle or a bigger Speedy Carve block. Alright, so now that we're done, or we're pretty happy with the leaf, I'm going to go ahead and do a secondary design. While I was doing this, I just wanted to kind of make it up as I was going. So I'm going to do like this diamond behind it. Kind of has like badge feel. I kind of like it. Diamonds are pretty strong shapes in art, so. And yeah, I kind of thought it would be cool to have like a little badge stamp or something like that. Again, it was just for this tutorial. Really didn't plan this out in advance, but if you're going to do this and you want to kind of make a really cool image, I definitely recommend planning it out ahead of time and transferring your drawing. Looks good. I like it. So now, as I'm just touching this up, I'm going to be adding the little fan tip or the tips of the fan leaves. Very characteristic of cannabis plants. And voila, that is our sketch. Looks great. Cool. So now I'm going to grab a marker. This one's a Faber-Castell India ink marker. And what I'm doing is I am outlining my design so that anything that's black will be part of the stamp and everything that's pink, that'll just be cut away. So when you're inking your design, I definitely recommend inking on the inside of your pencil line because that's the part of the stamp that you want to keep. If you ink on top or in the center of the line, then your design's going to be a little bit more like chunkier, and it may not be what you want, and you may end up with like a bad stamp. I definitely also don't recommend using this type of pen. I used it because it was the first one I grabbed, and I recommend using a Sharpie. I will be switching it over to a Sharpie later. But I guess for the initial outline, I just kind of wanted something with a bit more of a finer tip, and then I was going to fill in this later with the Sharpie. So why I prefer the Sharpie over this? Well, this pen typically runs like $3, give or take, and a Sharpie's like $1. I also think the Sharpie lasts longer, like shelf life, as well as like just like mileage. These India inks, the pens, they kind of tend to die or dry out pretty quick because they're ink, they're alcohol based, and the Sharpie marker just, I don't know, you can just leave them forever and you come back to them and they're still good. So you can see this marker's already kind of smudging on the block, and once I fill in the top fan leaf, I kind of catch myself. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I had a Sharpie, I should be using the Sharpie. There you go, big Sharpie. It's bigger anyway, so you're gonna be able to fill in your drawing faster, and you'll be able to move on to carving sooner. Yeah, faster is better in some cases, and I prefer the Sharpie because it kind of stains the block better. This kind of thing kind of gets smudgy and it smears, and it's not as sharp. All right, so we're moving into carving using a number 1 bit here, which is a really fine tip bit, and I'm just gonna go and outline my design with it. I want a really sharp stamp, so I'm just kind of creating an outline, and then I'll go over it with another bit to kind of get the stamp raised so that you don't get any kind of like blotches or anything like that when you're making your print. Here I'm just being precise with the straight line. Again, I'm just eyeballing it for the tutorial. If I really wanted to be serious about a print, which I usually am, I'd use a ruler. Always use a ruler if you're going to want to make straight lines for prints. Now we're switching over to a number 2 bit. And we're going to use those little gouges with the number 1 bit as kind of a guide to really take out the rest of the meat of this print here. Always remember when you're doing this type of thing to be very patient. We have the luxury of using Speedy Carve, which is super easy to carve, but it's also really super easy to mess up considering it's like a soft rubber. If you kind of bite off more than you can chew, you can like jab right into your block, and it feels bad at that point, right? You kind of want to restart, but who knows. So I recommend going slow and just taking your time. Back in the day, you know, they didn't have this kind of thing, so they had to be really patient with their carvings, and yeah, it's worth it. So now I am cutting away the extra rubber because I kind of want to save it for like some small, cuter prints. And here I'm being brave using my left hand because training for that ambidextrousness. So if I did this again, I would definitely use like a cutting board with like an X-Acto knife, because I definitely get worried here as I'm cutting towards my block when I like start to rip this. Yeah, that's not great. I don't recommend doing that. Just cut it away with like a board. And then save your little guys for later. You can make cool little cute stamps to put on cards and stuff. Now we switch over to a number 4 bit, and we're just getting rid of the rest of the rubber so that we only have left our rated design. Awesome. Moving on to the ink, using Speedball fabric ink, gold. It's my favorite gold ink so far. And we're gonna try to get the ink nice and flat and tacky before we roll it onto the block. So I'm pretty excited here, and I kind of put on a little bit too much ink, and we're gonna see that with the print again. And I also apply too much pressure here. I kind of go like full force with this the speed block, and you can see it's smeared, so it wasn't really that great. So now I kind of go in again with less ink and a different method. I just do like a stamp here, just pressing down with 2 hands very gently, and bam, looks much better. A little bit of contact missing in the middle, but we kind of overcompensate here with the hammer fist. Not the best, but again, these are just test prints. We're trying to figure out our print. It's part of the process for printmaking. So I wasn't really happy with the outline of my leaf, so I'm going back and cutting the lines a little bit thicker. I'm using a number 1 blade here. And yeah, the ink is still wet, but whatever. It's a small print, so there you go. Looks great of that gold. So now we're going back to our first run of our test print after the alteration. And you can tell the ink is a lot more dry and it's more tacky. It looks great. I love the shine of this ink. Definitely recommend using this to print. And grabbing our paper, and we're deciding which method we want to use, so we're going to go with the pressing method for this one. We just press down, a little bit on the aggressive side, but it turns out nice. That's much better. I like the leaf pops really great. So because we did that method, now I'm going to go back and try to do the other method with the speedball Red Baron, that's what it's called. And this one turns out pretty good. And again, as you print more, you're going to figure out how to work your print, and that's part of printmaking. And there we go. We have one cannabis print from start to finish. I hope you learned something, and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. There'll be more content like this in the future. Thank you for watching. Bye.